Good afternoon, Professor Pestana and class. This week's topic of discussion is on the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, DHS. Dr. Crowther went thoroughly over the extent of all the agencies and tasks, the impossible missions that they're tasked with, and the variety that they're tasked with. I'm gonna skim and end up with United States Customs and Border Protection. DHS was signed into law with the Homeland Security Act in response to 9/11. Essentially, the biggest problem the U.S. government has in most agencies and departments is communication. There's as Dr. Crowther mentioned, the CIA knew the bad guys were here, or that they were bad. The FBI knew that those guys were here, but they didn't know both sides of that story. In essence, allowing or not being able to intervene in the terrorist plot which carried out 9/11. Many agencies got sucked into Department of Homeland Security. Agencies from the Treasury, Justice, Transportation, Agriculture, Energy, etc. For example, United States Customs and Border Protection, which would be CBP, they are a mix of, they're tasked with immigration and customs now, among other things. They went from Immigration and Naturalization Service, which is the Department of Justice, and U.S. Customs Service, which is the Department of Treasury. They got blended into United States Customs and Border Protection. For clarification, which Dr. Crowther didn't emphasize on, you have United States Customs and Border Protection, and then you have United States Immigration and Customs Enforcement. There's a major difference. They're both DHS, but they both have their assigned tasks. CBP deals with traveling public at the port of entry. So when you travel internationally, you see CBP. When you're within the country and your immigration is doubted, that's when ICE, or Immigration and Customs Enforcement, takes place. The investigatory branch of DHS lies within ICE, which is HSI, Homeland Security Investigations. They do respond at the airport when any traveling public becomes criminal and it's not administrative immigration anymore. And the title is United States Customs and Border Protection, not United States Customs and Border Patrol, as Dr. By mistake mentioned a couple times, even though Border Patrol does fall within that. But the title is Protection, not Patrol. Patrol is the subcategory of all this, which segue into that. USBP, United States Border Patrol, is a subcategory of United States Customs and Border Protection. They wear a different color uniform. CBP wears dark blue and are at the port of entry. They sit at the borders where you're allowed to come, where the doors at the border where you're supposed to come in through. Border Patrol sits in the fence where you're not supposed to be passing over. So they guard the fence, CBP guards the doors. They do work hand in hand. They do talk, but they deal with different situations most of the time. The CBP you see at the airport and the land borders are field operations, and Border Patrol is Border Patrol. Perfect example of what CBP does, and going back to 9/11, the 20th hijacker, which his name is Ramzi bin al-Shabi, allegedly was meant to take part in these attacks on American Airlines Flight 77, but immigration at the time, remember this is before the merge, U.S. Immigration Inspector at Orlando Airport, Jose Melendez Perez, refused his entry in August of 2001. He was a flight student here, and the story wasn't there, and INS refused his entry essentially, with no previous knowledge, even though the intelligence community, which wasn't much at the time, but the FBI and the CIA had information on some various, bad guy and the other people knew something about him that they didn't. Regardless, luckily that guy was deterred and not allowed to come in that day. So that is CBP. I appreciate your time.